The following is a compLexity production.
1, 2, 3, compLexity!
This is the press conference, streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
Oh, you don't be serious, man!
You've got questions, we've got answers. And now, your hosts, compLexity.
Hello and welcome to another press conference. My name is Cam. I'm your host for today. I'm excited because I have a wonderful roster today. To my right, Beef. How you doing, man?
Good, man. Good. It's a gorgeous day. It's chilly, but bright and sunny. I'm feeling good.
Good. Jason, how you doing today?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Like Beef said, the sun is out in Texas for the first time in a while. We're pretty excited about that. Got 9 million things going on. It's been a really busy day. Happy to be here and excited to introduce this guy to my right.
Yeah. Viewers, very hardcore viewers might have seen him in a POV episode.
Couple sneak previews.
Yeah. But right in front of me, we have our new CMO, Cam Kelly. How you doing?
I'm good. Great to be here, actually. Pretty well, actually.
Great to have you on. I mean, you know, just looking at the questions already, a lot of people are really curious about you and what you're doing here. So I feel like it'd be appropriate to start off this week by introducing you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, you're CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, but what does it actually mean for those out there that aren't really familiar with the marketing space?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a little different in the esports space than I think a lot of people think of in the corporate world. But you know, it's I'll kind of compartmentalize and answer as quickly as I can. Really, what I oversee at compLexity is all of the marketing as well as social content and creative output as well. And then obviously as I can impact other areas of the business as much as I possibly can, I try to do that as well. So everything from HR to player recruitment, as much stuff as I can.
So basically what you're saying is you kind of do everything.
anything that you guys ask. Yeah, no, I have my core functions, but then I try to get outside of them as much as I can. So I'm learning just as much as I'm doing.
Yeah, we looked for over 6 months for this position because the CMO, for people that don't necessarily follow a lot of business, really has his finger on the pulse of the organization and really sets what that pulse rate's going to be, right? What is our messaging? What are our core values? How are we communicating with our fan base? What messaging and products do we want to bring to the marketplace? What are we offering our sponsors? How is our merch looking? How is our content flowing across a whole gamut of different things? So it's an incredibly important position. And and Kyle spent too, a great deal of time searching to fill this role because understanding how critical it was going to be at this point of our lifespan and in our growth cycle. You know, it was a daunting task, and we invested a lot of time into it. And Cam has been around for a minute now. We just got around to announcing him, but we're super excited to have him on board. So tell us the quick version of kind of your path and in the marketing world and everything and how you came to be with us, Cam.
Yeah, so you know, in kind of pursuing college at the time, I had been looking for what career I wanted to get into, and so I thought, you know, you could change the world with PR. You could become the president with good PR, and I was actually right, looking further down the road.
Good Lord.
But you know, I quickly found out in my career right away that I didn't want to be building media lists and pitching media. So my minor in marketing ended up being kind of the focus for me. So found new business and kind of brand strategy early on in my career, and had the opportunity to work with a ton of really strong brands. My first taste in kind of gaming was actually my first taste in brand strategy. At my time during my experience at Edelman and at UEG later on, we had Microsoft as a client, and they were looking to do some midnight launches around some of their exclusive game titles. So I had the privilege of, I should say, designing their midnight store release program. So we executed that in 30 plus stores, and that just kind of lit a fire for me. And obviously being kind of a lifelong gamer myself, it just was kind of like, oh wait, I can do everything I love at once. So fast forward several years, I ended up doing the same for brands like Doritos. I was the one who structured the Toyota Overwatch League arrangement, as well as a number of different gaming and esports sponsorships, which I was really proud of, but never really got the opportunity to kind of set free and take something and kind of work with a really core team and build something really special, you know, or should I say kind of help build something really special. So when we were having the initial conversations with Jason and with Beef, there was nothing more exciting for me. I had been aware of compLexity, a big fan of some of the, I guess I should say OG productions that have been done in the past, and was really fan of someone taking a different approach to what had been done in the past. So as soon as we started talking, it was kind of like I would pretty much give up just about anything to be with an organization like this.
You mentioned the different approach, and I think this is a really good segue into what we wanted to talk about next. I mean, ever since you've come on, I think people might have noticed a little bit of a shift if they've been really following our content. But we released a new POV, very different style. We now have a completely new series called Through the Smoke, which is a very different from what we've done thus far with our CS team. How much were you involved in that process, and what was the vision for that? Why did we go that direction? I think a lot of people were wondering about that.
Yeah, and I think, when you come into a role like this and you have experience elsewhere, I think the number one priority is who's the audience we're trying to reach. And I think as an org, we've done an incredible job of having a broad audience, a wide age range in our audience. But as we kind of see this next generation's wave coming, we can kind of look at the data and what it says about their preferences and things like that, and also knowing that we want to keep it light, fun. You don't have to have a crazy long attention span for all of our content. So when we looked at POV, we looked at how do we really take the essence of what is special about that show, right? I think radical transparency is something we're really all very passionate about. So how do we carry that through in a new format for the younger audience to have that same level of kind of transparency that we've had in the past, but with a new take on it, doing something a little lighter, a little fun, getting a chance to really meet everyone behind the scenes, not just our players, but also our staff. I mean, we work really hard, we work long hours, but I think those kind of magical moments you see in between are what's really special. So we wanted to continue to give people the chance to see that stuff kind of across the board. And then very similarly with Through the Smoke, we've seen, how many CS docuseries have there been? How many, we pride ourselves on producing some of the greatest features in CS history at this org. So when it came to talking about an original dedicated series for our CS team, a really special and unique CS team, how do we do that in a special and unique way? So how do we get deep CS, right? How do we get out of relying so heavily on event footage and in-game content? How do we make it more of an invitation to really experience what they experience as they're experiencing or right after they experience it? So that was kind of the desire there. And as an organization, I think I've been really blessed to be a part of it. But as we're pushing through in CS, we're pushing into Legend stage. We're changing the roster a couple months beforehand, and that really requires some uncertainty. So when it came to naming the show, it was like that's really kind of our narrative, is just kind of pushing our way through the smoke and trying to make the best moments that we can out of it. So that's really what came out of the show, and we're really proud of it so far. If you haven't seen it, go see it. And that's something we're really passionate about carrying through as well. So you'll see a lot more of that.
I think, the feedback on Through the Smoke has been amazing thus far, and a lot of people are saying it's like sort of like a, sort of the next era of content when it comes to.
I'll take it. I'll take that kind of feedback. I think
it's been good.
Yeah, we're trying to do that across the board, not just in our content, but on social and everywhere else. As Jason mentioned, merch. We're exploring a lot of stuff that we've kind of seen and been begging for as being in the esports community, and just, instead of always focusing so much on sell, it's esports. How are we doing something different and special for the community? How we're creating new products that really address those needs. So you're seeing it come out in content, but you'll be seeing it pretty much everywhere else we touch from a 360 perspective across the board.
To round that off then, is there anything else that, maybe you can tell fans what to expect from 2019?
Do we have anything coming at all this year?
Yeah, maybe. Is there anything else happening this year?
Yeah, I don't want to listen. No, we won't tip our hats too much. I think we're incredibly excited for what this year means for us. I think, in our conversations with Jason, nobody can get you more hyped about esports than Jason Lake can. So I think in our early conversations, it was nothing but excitement, and now it's about execution. So as we execute things, you'll see more, but like I mentioned, see differences in how we treat merch, see differences in how we treat content, and how we treat social, and how we treat fan engagement, and how we treat partnerships. Really, really trying to push the industry forward, not as a follower or catching up to where others have gotten, but really, okay, what does esports 3.0 really mean? And then what does that mean we have to do as those who are accountable and responsible for pushing that forward? So expect to see a whole lot, but I'm not giving you any more than that right now.
No teasers?
There'll be teasers, but not right now.
Speaking of teasers, you teased something last week, Beef.
Yes.
You promised that we could talk about a new division.
Yes.
And we can actually.
We can.
We picked up 2 FIFA players.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Apex Legends.
We'll
get
for
there.
next week?
Maybe. Probably not.
All right, let's go. All right, FIFA. We finally announced A9 Skills and Joksan. Beef, walk us through that.
I mean, FIFA has been something that I know is near and dear to this table.
That's right.
He came to the organization with kind of a FIFA background, worked with FIFA Esports before. I mean, Skim, huge Bayern fan, big Bayern fan over there, big FIFA guy. And I mean, even Jason, some of the earliest FIFA competitors played here at compLexity back in like CGS in those days.
Krieg and BG.
We have a history with the game, and especially with the global reach that a game like FIFA has and the incredible demographic that it captures and the fun, family-friendly nature. And it's not a demographic that we were really reaching. And it was really exciting for us to be able to get into this game in a really big and meaningful way. I think one of the articles ended up saying something like, is this one of the biggest launches in FIFA history? And I mean, I don't want to say that it is, but we're very proud of being able to bring in a huge content creator with the potential to be player, as he said, in A9 Skills, and the #1 player in the United States, Joksan. So we're really, really proud of the team that we've been able to bring in so far. And let's go FIFA.
Yeah, FIFA, baby.
Yeah, it feels really unique because, as somebody that has been obviously following FIFA somewhat on the side, because it's like if you live in Europe, you follow football, you're gonna stumble onto news like X club picks up that player.
Yeah.
But then you basically hear nothing afterwards. Whereas we not only picked up a player, but we also picked up a content creator that's been huge in the space. So is there anything? What can we expect from A9 Skills? Like for those that don't know him.
So, I mean, Skills has been around for years. He's one of the biggest content creators in FIFA. He uploads daily. It's incredible to respect the grind that a guy like Skills has daily. I couldn't tell you the last time that he did not upload a video, but I mean, when he was down here visiting us in Texas, he went back up. He was sick. He was deathly ill for like 6 days, and he's still uploading. He can barely even talk, but he's uploading. But honestly, I can't say enough about the guy. He is so unbelievably passionate for FIFA and for the community and to be a part of compLexity. And that's something that we're so excited about. And we find that it's very valuable to have somebody that's got that presence and that can be an evangelist for compLexity and FIFA to get people excited. And then you've got the 1-2 punch with Joksan coming in, being one of the absolute best players in the entire world, having won the PS4 Continental Cup, made it to the finals at Bucharest, currently #5 on the leaderboard globally. And he's heading out to Singapore in a few weeks. So just making sure that we have that kind of cyclical engagement and being able to do some really awesome things in FIFA.
Speaking of Joksan's track record, he just qualified for the Champions League in Manchester.
That was this weekend.
Yeah.
So you get 3 upcoming LAN events as well as the FIFA eWorld Cup Grand Finals. That's going to be in August. So 4 LAN events coming up with still a few more that he could qualify for.
That's how you hit the ground running. Yeah, no, we've been incredibly excited about FIFA for some time. It was hard to keep that one under wraps, knowing what we had coming. But I couldn't be more excited. And those guys, I mean, we've all had direct engagements with Joksan. He's just a wonderful, wonderful person to have on our team. And AA's been amazing as well. So I think we are just nothing but excited for what that means moving forward. Expect to see a whole lot out of FIFA.
I think we had like 7 or 8 people watching Skills' stream last night. We were just gifting subs and subbing and all this stuff, and he's just giving us love. I had a big old grin on my face the entire time. He's such an engaging personality. If you guys have not watched Skills, if you have not checked out Joksan, make sure to go check them out on Twitter and YouTube. That's A9 Skills on YouTube, and Joksan Radona on Twitter and YouTube.
Yeah. But like you mentioned, Joksan's also going to be in Singapore, so look out for that. Hopefully going to be a dope event for him.
It should be.
Yeah.
If you follow his track record, it should be nothing but a dope event.
And for the people that are in on the joke, Skills will also be in Singapore, even though he actually won't be.
All right, let's move on to CS. It's a little bit slower with CS now that the major is over, but Jason?
Yeah, the players had most of the week off to go home, see their families. They're just coming off of grinding boot camp and then being in Poland for the event. where we managed to make sure that we're going to be at the next major in Berlin. So I'm looking forward to hopefully attending that with the team. Astralis won. Ents was the major story of the major, I guess you could say. Just the fact that they made the grand final shocked a lot of people, and that was pretty cool. But Astralis
Easy for Ents.
Astralis looks about as unbeatable as any team or player I've ever seen in esports history. So I really tip my hat. It's just amazing how seriously they take their craft and how much success they've been able to find. I mean, they train down here. We got to see firsthand.
They're incredible.
How serious they are about their exercise and about their nutrition and about their strategy and about their team chemistry. And they're very intentional. We're definitely in full agreement with a lot of what they're putting in place has to do with Esports 3.0. And when they were here, it was a lot of fun to kind of talk about what we're building and how we're approaching it. And they were just like, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. There was a lot of common ground there. So congratulations to them. Right now, Rick is up in Canada because we're having some visa troubles. For those that watch the show or pay attention, visas have been really difficult lately. We've actually reached out to a local congressman this week. It's come to that point, so we're hoping we can get some traction there, because Rick's visa is not the only one we're kind of struggling with, and it's not just us. I've talked to other org owners. The United States government is changing some policy. It seems it's very much more difficult now to get visas approved than it has been in the past few years. So he's currently in Canada, where we have rented him a PC rig. So he can practice with the team and put in his time. But the rest of the guys showed up today and yesterday back to Texas and are ready to get back to work. As far as Jordan Nothing Gilbert goes, we're still in talks with him. His contract that was through the major expires on the 15th. We're waiting to see kind of where we can go from here. Obviously, he's an influencer. He's got a career outside being a professional player that we greatly respect. And part of him really still wants to be a player, obviously. So we're kind of waiting and talking back and forth with him as to what might make sense. By no means is he guaranteed to be on the team through the rest of the year, but the offer is currently open. So we're kind of wait and see mode for that. Got the ECS, I don't know, are they called mini tournaments? Or
ECS qualifier tournament?
Yeah, a little qualifier tournament's going to be kicking up here pretty soon, where you can qualify for the larger event. But I think we've got till like March 22nd to solidify the roster as far as ESL Pro League goes. So we got a little time to practice, get the guys a little rest, and move forward. That's where we're at with CSGO.
I want to give a shout out personally to our boys up in Canada, Waveform, who I called him up and I was like, hey, I got a guy in Canada. Can we get him a computer? 2 hours later, they're like, yo, big computer, 240 hertz monitor at the front door.
It's good to know people.
It's good to know people.
Good to know people.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Speaking of things that are very cool, I personally am a huge Rocket League fan.
Yes.
I love that we can now announce that we added Flakes to our roster officially.
Officially.
That's where I first met you.
Yeah.
We had hired you, but you hadn't, because of visas.
Because of visas.
Guys, just stop.
Hadn't been to the United States. So when I went over to London to watch our Rocket League team get third in the world, that's the first time
it's still one of my favorite event moments.
Really
like, that crowd was so special.
I
still haven't seen anything
Let's
like
go
it.
complexity.
Yeah, they had the whole song.
Let's go complexity.
It was
Yeah,
insane.
I'd never heard it put that
So
way.
that's one of the reasons why I look forward to this roster, because they already showed what they're capable of. Flakes, Greasy Mice, and Magnus. They played at DreamHack Leipzig a couple of weeks ago. I mean, yeah, they only placed like 9th to 12th, but they beat PSG and Vitality. Vitality eventually ended up being second at that event. So, lots of
yeah, they
potential
came
in this
really
roster.
close in a couple of those matches. So a couple more bounces going their way, one less own goal.
Oh, yeah.
We're almost there. Speaking of soccer, I'm not going to get into it actually, but IX? Anybody? Okay, never mind. I'm off way on the tangent right now.
I have no idea what he's on.
Champions League beef.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that was awkward.
It was really awkward.
I'm trying to save you, man. I have no idea what you're talking
I still
about.
don't
I've
know
been
what
in
you're
meetings
talking
all
about.
day. I
Our
don't know what
producer
you...
Doug knows. I'm
Doug
sure.
knows?
Does he
Doug
though?
knows.
Okay.
I do.
All right. Let's move on to the Q&A portion of this. of the press conference. As always, if you ever have a question that you want to ask us, if you want to ask one of these guys anything, hit us up on Twitter, Discord, Reddit, wherever, hashtag coLPC. We usually try to answer as many questions as possible. So let's get started. We have a couple of regulars here, as you may be able to see in your sheets. Elizabeth on Discord. This is directed to you, Jason. What's been your most satisfying memory with compLexity?
That's a good one.
Man, yeah, I should have read the notes beforehand. So yeah, that's a really good question. There's been a lot, you know. I think satisfying. There's different levels of satisfying. The first time we won a championship in ESWC 2005, where I'd been talking a really big game, how I was going to build America's best Counter-Strike team, and everyone, you know, 99% of people said there's no chance you're going to do it. And then we won an international, what was basically a major back then, on European soil. That was really, really satisfying. You know, and as recently when we accomplished this transaction with our new investment group, and I got to see people like Kyle and Scott and Andrew and Soren and others, many of which had been with us for over 5, pushing 10 years, kind of quite often grinding out just as volunteers, now come and get full-time jobs and salaries and health insurance, and we could all come into the office each day and like work face-to-face and like solve problems in the same rooms. That was really, really satisfying. That was one of the most satisfying moments in my life, not just in compLexity, to where many years we battled and scratched and clawed just to stay alive. So to come to a place like this and to have this kind of support and be able to do this as our full-time jobs, that was super satisfying.
Can imagine in maybe like, what, a month or 2 from now, you're going to have another very satisfying moment when you're sitting in your new office? Yeah.
I think when we open the new headquarters, that's definitely going to be a moment for a cigar and a tear. We're pretty stoked. That's going to be great.
It's going to be emotional.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
It's going to be great.
What about knowing that H1Z1 leak was not going to work out? And then that article comes out. That's
there have been times. There have been times behind the scenes, many of which we can't share because of, you know, non-disclosure agreements, where we've been presented with different opportunities, and I've been saying, this is a train wreck headed for a brick wall. And other people are like, no, you're wrong. It's going to be the biggest thing next to sliced bread. It's going to make millions of dollars. And yeah, definitely been wrong in the past. But it is satisfying sometimes when you're like, run away fast. And people listen and they dodge that bullet. There have been a few of those recently where like the H1Z1 League was definitely one of them where I warned several people to run. And it was pretty sad. Not that I take satisfaction when anything in esports fails,
Right.
but when people are just so boisterous and, in my personal opinion, selling just a bunch of hot air and people are buying into it, that bothers me. And when I say, hey, it's not going to happen, then yeah, I'm a little satisfied when I'm right. So interesting, like, flip of the coin there.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that.
I just like the BB9 May the 4th video last year.
Also one of my favorites.
Yeah.
H1Z1 League. Nobody does those.
Yeah,
Whatever
that was
it was.
a fun video to do.
Yeah, we got to do another one.
By far one of
May the 4th coming up.
Yeah,
Definitely.
That's coming up.
Definitely.
Cam, next question's for you.
Alrighty.
What are your goals with compLexity?
Everything. We're gonna win everything. We're gonna do everything. No, I think the goals for compLexity right now, you know, we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, is taking what's been special around what's been built for the last 15, 16 years. I mean, there's not many esports orgs that have really transcended generations. You know, it's not something that you've been able to see, most of which have been started within the last 5 years, and that's, you know, some of the older ones. So I think it's really about translating what's been special about this org to the next generation, including, I think we both have sons. Jason's is 12 and mine is 10. And I have a 10 and a 10-month-old before my wife screams at me for not mentioning my second son. But you know, we want to carry that through in everything we do. I think Jason's had the privilege of having wisdom from having seen this all happen several times before it was a buzzword, before every brand and every partner was interested in the space. So making sure we do it cautiously and intelligently and So in terms of just general goals is taking everything like we talked about from merch and content and social and general marketing materials, opportunities for fans and our general audience to get involved, but carrying that through in a very compLexity way to the next generation is probably the summarization. I mean, there's a million different things I could hit.
No,
on this
yeah,
one,
right.
But,
it's a very open-ended question.
But the summary would be we want to do everything in line with what we've done in the past for a new generation.
See, this was originally a question for him, but I might as well ask you, Jason. You know, if you had to list any goals for compLexity in the near future.
I mean, we definitely have a lot of goals, from revenue goals to, you know, competitive goals. You know, getting our company to a break-even place, because many people in esports tend to forget it is a business at the highest levels. Like, competitive gaming obviously doesn't always have to be a business to be esports, but at our level, it is a business, and a lot of money is being spent. We have obligations, fiduciary duties to try to figure out a way to crack this nut to get us to break even and then profitability sooner rather than later. But really, you know, I guess you could say goals more near and dear to my heart are, you know, really just reaching out and catering to the current fans we have and growing that fan base. Nothing drives me more personally than the fans. And delivering an organization worthy of cheering for, delivering an organization that gives a damn about what they think and is transparent, like Cam said earlier, is incredibly important to me. You know, way back years and years ago, we had one of the most vibrant fan bases in esports, and it was incredibly compelling to me personally, and it really drove my fire, my motivation to work harder and harder and harder to see those fans' reactions when we're hoisting trophies, to share that pride with them. And we've got a really good hardcore fan base, but I want to expand that fan base. And it's one of my top goals, and top goal of everyone in compLexity is to bring more people into the family of fans and give them a reason to give a damn, give them a reason to get fired up about us, give them a reason to buy our merch. Like,
hell yeah.
Give them a reason to rep us with the hat on the street or come and high-five us at the autograph lines. Those are the things that drive me every day.
Couldn't have said it better. So next time Jason can answer my question.
Well, I don't think you can answer this one, though, because the next question, by the way, thank you, Sir Nanu, for that question, but next one's from Elizabeth. Again, why did you choose compLexity?
Oh, man. That's an easy That's an easy one.
It's a dangerous question if it's the wrong answer.
You in a pickle at this point?
Is there anything I could eat instead of answering? No. Honestly, it's easier than you'd think to answer that question. You know, I think I've been talking to several close friends of mine who work at other orgs I've talked to. I had a number of different kind of things lined up. I was freelancing at the time, and was pretty excited about them, but nothing felt like home or that I'd be joining something really special, or even that there was kind of a lack of vision. I'd just be kind of a spoke in a wheel that was already kind of in a very particular direction. And I think the conversations were so much different with the guys at compLexity of, you know, these are our objectives, and then stopping that and that kind of becoming a question versus these are the objectives and this is exactly how we want to see you do it. So there was kind of a unique understanding. I wouldn't say, you know, I don't have complete freedom. You know, this is a team. We all work together. There's kind of a, you know, I have to kind of work within the guardrails of where we are and what we're trying to do. But there was a level of, you know,
Autonomy?
No, I guess autonomy, but more of like a family vibe. Like, autonomy is different. Like, if I had autonomy within a family, I can go eat whatever I want and do whatever I want, right? It's less that. It's more of an accountability, but like an appreciated accountability, right? Like, I can go off in new directions and push us all to reach new heights and things like that, but with respect to how it impacts the family. So I think that was really the difference for me, is wanting to feel like I belong somewhere that was looking to change this landscape. Because the other part of it for me is I didn't just want to fall into where esports is now and kind of what the status quo is. And that was what made it even easier, is having the conversation around, we don't want to be just another esports org. We don't just want to have the same content, the same social presence, the same jerseys, the same fans, really. I think that's what's kind of different and special about this. And that's why when I had the opportunity to pull the trigger, I just said, how hard do you want me to pull the trigger?
Happy you did pull the trigger. Happy to have you here.
Thanks.
Elizabeth was also wondering about the Fan Elite program and Fan of the Week.
Fan Elite.
What's happening with that?
Yeah, no, it's actually a topic of really recent conversation. We couldn't be more excited to have some new stuff coming out about Fan Elites. I think, I've been really impressed with the level of engagement. I mean, you talk about our Fan Elites in Discord and across our channels. I mean, these are, Jason mentioned hardcore fans. These are the hardest core fans. So I think it's been really something special to watch. And how do we invite a broader audience to have that same level of engagement, still rewarding those who are there, and kind of keeping them accountable. Dr. Waldo, I'm talking to you.
We had a long conversation yesterday.
We talked to Waldo.
We talked to him. He's still true blue or true red, Yeah. I read, as it were. But
yeah, we want to give that same opportunity to new fans. If you're gonna commit to compLexity like we've seen a lot of our fans do, we want to reward that. So there'll be some challenges. There'll be some things coming up. We're not going to make it super easy. You really gotta prove your elite status. But there'll be some updates coming up very soon.
Looking forward to that.
And speak of the devil, the next question is by
Dr. Waldo.
Oh. Wow.
The Road to Dr. Waldo.
I know you really like this question, so I'm going to point it directly to you again.
Sure.
What philanthropy-driven plans are you considering for the future of compLexity? compLexity.
Yeah, there's a lot of we've talked a lot about this. Beef and I have talked a lot a bit with our mobile division. We want to make sure we do it right and with a lot of thought. One of the things that we've been really passionate about has been mental health. We've continued to devote significant amount of resources. A lot of our planning in terms of one of our kind of key strategic pillars is the convergence of the spaces and what esports has from an accountability standpoint to address some of those issues. We've seen nothing short of a mental health crisis in even our field by itself. I mean, as a culture, we've seen it pretty prevalent as well, but in esports specifically, we've seen people drop from teams. We've seen a lot of just kind of struggling. You're on the road 222 days a year, etc. So that's one thing that we're incredibly passionate about and continuing to work to support those causes and be a part of those as much as we can. So that's definitely a big pillar for us. I think another one is, now that, especially with HQ coming and our presence within the broader Cowboys ecosystem, making sure that we're being a kind of a helping hand in their ongoing philanthropic efforts. And also, we've got a place in the community now. Obviously, we have a global presence, but we have a place in our direct community in Frisco and in Dallas to do a lot there. We've all been pretty passionate. We both have kids. A lot of folks within our org and our friends of the org have children. So anything we can do to support, efforts around children, bringing kids into our HQ. There's a lot of features within our HQ that were specifically designed to make sure that we're accommodating those audiences and really having that as kind of an open invitation. More to come on that for sure, but definitely, we've actually structured our entire business model to be an open door for the next generation to come in and really learn from what's happened before them. So those would be the big three for sure, definitely in mental health and in working with the Cowboys, and then also making sure we're reaching that close to us audience. Absolutely.
You brought up HQ. Question also from Dr. Waldo. Do you guys know where your offices are at the new HQ?
Closet.
That's what I was just going to say.
Ladies' room.
Mine.
He's convinced that his office is bigger than his.
It is.
Yeah.
By square footage, it is. Yeah.
We can switch.
But you got the view.
You have the view.
It's mostly occluded by a pillar.
Okay, now you're just kidding.
No, but yeah, Dr. Waldo, of course we all know our offices yet. I don't have one, but maybe
Shade.
soon.
Shots fired.
I'm just saying. All right. Next question is from Colton. Also directed to you, Cam. If someone wanted to get into marketing, what would you tell them to start working on?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's just about really just seeing what's happening around you. If you can kind of cut through, if you can cut through the BS and really see what someone's objectives are through what they're doing, would be what I recommend. So study brands, study people like Edward Bernays, study people like Mark Pollard and some of those other guys who are really kind of being the strategic minds, not just of what's happening in today's world, but what's happened in the past. You look at someone like the founder of modern public relations and someone like Ed Bernays, and you see, he didn't just put, beautiful women at the front of a parade line smoking Lucky Strikes because it was this new and innovative idea. He understood what the objective was, and the objective for them, unfortunately, was to get more women smoking cigarettes. But if you can identify that and what you see around you, you can understand how to really create strategic programming around specific initiatives that really is, done organically and authentically in a way that the community actually thanks you for it. So I would encourage you to learn that. Obviously, going to school is one of those things it's going to cost you a lot of money, but you kind of need it in the field. And if you're talking about esports marketing in particular, try not to do what everybody else does. There's enough of it. There's, quite a few of selling to the highest bidder and programs that don't make sense with audiences that don't make sense for brands. And we've seen a ton of it happen in our space. So make sure you've got an actual offering and identifying what that is and how you can facilitate that transaction. That would be a keen eye is number one. And learn how to adjust to that, and then number two, make sure you're getting educated by people smarter than you, because that's what I still work on every day.
Good advice. Hopefully, Colton can put it into use. I mean, there's a lot of people interested in marketing these days, so
Yeah, it's a blanket term, kind of like esports. I mean, if you want to talk about marketing in the same way we talk about esports, 81% of the esports audience only follows one title or genre. So until we talk about it where we say FIFA esports or Fortnite esports for whatever that model really looks like, I think we're doing ourselves a disservice. So also identify what marketing you want to do. Do you want to be in esports marketing? Do you want to be in sports marketing? Do you want to be in entertainment marketing? There's a ton of different directions you can take. Just find what you're passionate about and go after it.
Last question of the day is from Variables.
No, don't skip Cody.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I skipped Cody.
Cody Ford
how do you
ask the question, how do you see esports marketing landscape evolving in 2019? What strategies are you most excited to develop? The reason I wanted to point out Cody, because Cody is a good example of what I call this grit and hustle. Mm-hmm. Cody, for the last year plus, has been sending me probably weekly marketing decks with ideas on how to market our company, from social to web to across different platforms, Instagram, Facebook. And, every once in a while I find time, I get back to him like, thanks very much. We don't have anything available right now, but he just keeps at it and keeps at it and keeps at it. And recently, Daniel on our team was at an event, and Cody walks up to him with a big booklet and hands it to him, this beautiful binder, all color pages, and it's all this marketing work that he's just come up with. So I just want to give him a shout out because this guy knows how to hustle. I'm super impressed with that kind of dedication and that kind of hustle. And I hope he's doing it for 3 or 4 other orgs too, not just us. I hope he's out there networking and getting after it. But when I saw his name, I just wanted to bring that up. And serious hat to this guy. And you can bet with a work ethic like that and just that grit and determination, he's going to go far. But anyway, I'll let you answer his question.
Yeah, no, we read every slide, by the way. So everything you submitted, we've read every single slide of it.
So where do you see the esports marketing landscape evolving this year?
Yeah, I mean, I have kind of a hopeful answer, and then I also have just a general answer. The hopeful answer is that we get away from, the sell mentality. It's not a buzzword anymore. It's not going anywhere. We don't have to oversell it and overinflate.
Esports, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's what I'd be excited about is really okay, now let's be purposeful. We've seen how entertainment can be impactful for a broader cultural landscape, how it can be positive and how it can be negative. What's our narrative going to be? And it's really up to individual tournament organizers and individual teams, individual influencers to really set that tone. And if we do it right, this can be the space that kind of shows the rest of the spaces and takes the learning from the rest of the spaces on how to do it right. We've seen sports, for all of our love for sports, we've seen it be dark at times. How do we get away from that? We see a space that's toxic. How are we creating programming that can combat that? I think we've made huge strides in the battle against misogyny and toxicity in the space. I think we've seen huge strides in the, shutting down some of the homophobic tendencies that had existed in the past. So how is marketing's, kind of role in seeing that progress move forward? So I'm really excited about that. So that would be my hopeful answer. And I think that's how we're looking at it is purpose-driven. I think where we will continue to see, at least in the short term, is going to be overinflation at times. I think overvaluation is already an epidemic across the space. I think we'll see orgs suffer from that model. Not that everybody get yours, get your money up. I'm all for that taking place. Just be cognizant of what that means 5 years down the line. So that's definitely something I'm cautious of and not as excited to see. As we've already seen it taking place with some orgs. So kind of seeing that impact on the other side of the coin is what I'm not as excited to see, but I'm sure we'll see a lot more of that coming up soon.
All right. Hopefully, Cody, that's the answer that you're looking for. Or
half of it at least.
Half of it at least. Now, actually, to the last question of the day from Variables, also,
Variables, long time.
OG fan.
Was he around for that 2005 win?
Might have been.
Been
around a very long
referenced
time.
it at some point.
Very long time. Great dude.
How excited are you all to go into Macy's and see compLexity clothing?
Pretty dang excited. We saw a picture out of the New York Macy's today with clothing on a mannequin, the compLexity, and we're just like, that's pretty cool. It's like not the end all be all, but it's pretty damn cool to see your logo rocking in Macy's. So our partner Hacks, we're repping the hat today, got that deal done for us. We're super appreciative to them for that and love being partners with them. And we're going to be in a few cities, and hopefully it'll continue to spread out. So look for compLexity in your local Macy's in the United States.
How does that make you feel? We're talking about 16 years in almost. How is that? Is it
like earlier, man? It's like things like that are very satisfying. Like the first time they lit up the LED lights here at the Star, there's this outdoor area where a lot of people go. It's called Tostitos Plaza, and they have these huge LEDs. And the first time they had compLexity and all those, that was really satisfying. First time we opened the compLexity Gaming Zone in AT&T Stadium, one of the best stadiums in the whole world, even though it's like 10 years old. When you walk through this place, it's just unbelievable. And then you go and see the compLexity Gaming Zone with the compLexity logo at AT&T Stadium. Like, what the hell? If you told me that like 5 years ago, I would have thought you were crazy. And then they ran the ribbons during an NFL game, compLexity and our social media and stuff. And there's, 100,000 people in there, and it's rocking compLexity stuff. That's super satisfying. When we opened the HQ, like Beef said, after the amount of time and effort and just blood, sweat, and tears that's gone into this journey to open up a facility like we're building, it's going to be really satisfying. And absolutely seeing your logo on mannequins in like an American Staples like Macy's is very satisfying. Very cool moment. I want to see it like in person. I've seen a picture. I want to like walk into the Macy's here in Dallas and, probably get a selfie for Twitter or something. But yeah, satisfying, very cool moment to be sure.
How about we go around the table and everybody list one satisfying moment? I know you already mentioned a
Yeah, I think I've listed a bunch.
But I feel like, we could finish the show off with, everybody just maybe, I'm sure you have.
Now you're on the spot, Beef.
Qualifying for TI5. We were there. That was just an absolutely insane Dota season where we didn't even know what team we were going to have until 4 or 5 weeks before the qualifiers, and pulling it together and living in this this crappy house in Baltimore and playing in an attic. It was the middle of the summer and the AC was broken, and I was literally spending my time. You can find a post about it because we got yelled at by the admins because we paused because it was 102 degrees in the house and they needed to go outside to not die. And I'm literally shoveling water out of the air conditioning unit so that it would turn back on because it was overflowing because it was so humid. And to go through and win that, you can catch the video on our YouTube. It has over 100,000 views. Just the raw emotion of the team, to be able to be a part of that experience. And to see people work that hard and get rewarded, it was incredible.
Cam, I know you haven't been with compLexity too long, but surely there's something.
Yeah, no, I think... oh, man, just my first day was, that's satisfying enough. But I think in terms of, kind of our product, I think the skills announcement and watching his first stream with the compLexity logo in his stream and hearing him talk about us with the passion that he talks about us, I think that was incredibly satisfying. I've kind of been a FIFA head since '97, so that one's been big for me. And getting ready for Joksan in Singapore will probably be another incredibly satisfying moment. But I'll use that as an easy, really timely cop out.
Probably some stuff you can't talk about as well.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
A lot of that.
a lot of satisfying things that aren't public yet.
So,
Good stuff. Well, I will
Teasers.
be gone next week. I'm taking the kids on spring break, but I should be back in 2 weeks.
And I won't be there at that point.
And then you won't be here.
I will miss my first episode of Press Conference.
Yeah, I was going to say, you haven't missed one yet, Beef. I will carry the load for you, buddy.
There you go.
I will carry the load. We'll put a big teddy bear in that chair.
if there's a
Complexity
person
shirt
that
on
really deserved
him.
a break, then it's probably you. So I'm just putting it out there.
For real. For
I'm just
real.
putting it out there.
Desperately needs a break.
But thanks to everybody for listening in. Hope you guys had as much fun as we did. Tune in back next week. And yeah, follow us on Twitter, Discord, wherever. Remember, #coLPC, and see you guys next week.
Do it. Thanks for watching.
See ya.
yes.